Sony's XM4s improve upon an already well-reviewed XM3 and elevate it to one of the best noise cancellation headphones at any price point, combining solid design, great next-gen features, and an overall solid listening experience.
And with that, I'm Adrian for Digital Dojos, and today we're going to be taking a look and reviewing the Sony XM4s. So, as of late, I, like many of you, have been in this remote/work-from-home climate, and I've gained an appreciation for the world of hi-fi audio, and just kind of trying to build out my headphones, speakers, sound equipment collection. And these XM4s were an addition that I picked up almost a year ago to kind of really offer a versatile headset that was going to replace my previous quiet comfort from Bose. Something that would be, ideal for travel, even though we're not really doing that a lot right now in the climate that we're in. But ideal for that as well, just being a versatile headphone, right? And the XM4s, in my opinion, have really offered me that in the sense of portability, feature set, sound quality, and again, that active noise canceling. So if you were an XM3 owner, I would say these aren't a huge upgrade from your XM3s. I think they take an already great headphone and make them even better. You don't have to rush to go and upgrade. However, if you've never had a pair of active noise canceling headphones, or you're debating between something like this or the QC700s, I would personally say, in my experience, lean towards the Sony XM4s. So the differences for those of you who were looking at the XM3s or considering them, because they're probably cheaper nowadays, aesthetically they look relatively the same. There's some differences in the padding being more cushioned on the XM4s. You have some colorway options, I believe. I don't know if they're exclusive to the XM4s, but I got these like slate gray with gold tones here and accents. The active noise canceling was highly improved in the XM4s compared to the XM3s, and you now have multi-device support and a couple other features that can be considered gimmicky that we'll talk about on the XM4s. But in terms of like sound comparison, I'm gonna say that they're relatively the same in terms of profile. I didn't own an XM3 pair. I have heard a pair of them in the past. They're not night and day different between in terms of sound quality, but the better active noise cancellation does give the XM4s an edge. But again, it's not a sole reason for you to upgrade. And with that, let's get the tech specs out of the way. These are a closed style of headphones, of course, over the years. And with that, they offer a frequency response range of 4 Hz to 40,000 Hz. In terms of tech that they're packing in, Bluetooth 5.0 wireless tech is what's powering it all, of course, to wirelessly connect to your devices. You do have the option to go the wired route if you ever wanted to. And then you have other technology built in like NFC for convenience for pairing to your phone, for example, as well as what they call DSEE Extreme by Sony. This is just a feature that you can enable in the headphone to enhance the sound quality of the source of music that you're listening to on the fly. It's like Sony's optimized audio engine that they use if you ever want to try that out. It's a feature you can turn on and off. And of course, the big tech behind all this is that ANC, that active noise canceling. And as somebody who kind of came from the world of Bose when it came to active noise canceling, when it came to like long-term travel and commutes, that was my go-to pair of headphones. Don't get me wrong, I used the Apple AirPods line of products for a while. The AirPods Pro were probably my favorite product in the last couple of years from Apple, in just terms of convenience and just overall ecosystem. But the Sonys really offer you that true noise canceling experience. Since they're not in-ears or over-the-ears, they really do a much better job of blocking out all that sound. And having the QC35s for quite some time, it was time due for an upgrade, and rather than update to the QC700s, these just edged out in terms of feature sets, and I think their active noise canceling tech is just slightly better in my personal opinion when it comes to overall control and noise canceling. That noise canceling is powered by a couple things. It has a built-in optimizer to look at things like altitude and know that if you're at a higher altitude like you're flying, to adjust for that. Ambient mode, of course, transparency mode, and the ability to kind of tweak how much sound you let in when you need to. And pressure optimization. So this is great, for example, if you have like something like glasses or wear glasses, where it might create that gap in your ear and the pressure is different for every person, depending on your head shape and whatnot. This allows you to tweak that so that you get the appropriate noise cancellation for your specific profile. And with that, in terms of tech specs, the last thing is they do tout about 30 hours of battery life, and we'll talk more about that and what I got in my day-to-day usage. In terms of design, they stuck with that simple design that you got in the XM3s. Really clean, really simple, really easy, adjustable headphone here that easily collapses down to be more portable or fit in its case. Super comfortable, I will say, in terms of just overall usage and long-term usage. On the right cup, you have your 2 physical buttons. That is the, or sorry, I should say the left-hand cup. You have your two physical buttons, your power button and pairing button, as well as the custom button, which can trigger your voice assistance, because this is technically a smart headphone. We'll get into that in a bit. And on the right ear cup, you have the touch sensor on the actual earphone here. So you can play, pause, swipe forward, swipe back, up, down for volume controls. And that's how you kind of control all your media functionality on the headset itself. But of course, what you care about is how they sound. And while my total subscription doesn't qualify the title audiophile, I want to speak for somebody who just gained an appreciation for this whole space as of recent. These are decent sounding headphones. And if you don't know what things like highs and mids and lows are and you don't care about that stuff, yes, I would say these are a good pair, a solid pair of sounding headphones. Are they the greatest at their price point? Are they the greatest sound that you can get? No, of course not. In headphones, there's so many different variables and preferences, but I think these sound good, objectively speaking. From a more detailed perspective, I wouldn't say they're a neutral headphone. I don't know if that's what Sony was going for in the XM4s. I've heard people kind of describe it as a middle ground sound. I think it tends to lean more on the lower bassier side of things when it comes to sound profile overall. But the thing I like about this is you can easily customize all that in the equalizer within the Sony Connect app for these headphones. So I think they lean more on the bassier side when it comes to music, but you can adjust that profile to get more of an energetic sound, a bouncy sound, a brighter sound, depending on your preference. Decent sound imaging, you know, decent stage, sound stage. But again, what really ties this, what really packages this for me is the ANC. Because when I think of it, I think there's like a common misconception in the audio world that louder headphones or just louder sound in general tends to be perceived as better quality when that's not always the case. And that's definitely something I've learned over the years. I was somebody who used to be a big fan of like Beats by Dre and stuff like that after I got like, exposed to more and more headphones. And with that, you know, with active noise canceling, you don't tend to like turn up the volume as much because you don't need to. Like you're not trying to drown out all that noise because the active noise canceling is doing that for you. And with that said, like, yeah, decent highs, decent mids, predominant on the lows and in the bass and the low end. But overall, a decent sound quality. And with that, a customizable one with its built-in equalizer. So it has a little bit of something for everyone in that sense. Now, how have they fared in day-to-day usage for me? I have used this in a multitude of settings, right? I'm here in the home office, home studio a lot, working, taking Zoom calls, things like that. These are great just for general listening and deep focus. It's a great way to kind of tune out the world around you when you have that noise cancellation turned on and really focus, which is something I know a lot of people struggle with in this work from home climate. That said, in the small commuting I have done in the last year, in the one flight I've been on the last year, this did a really great job of cutting out that ambient noise, cutting out that engine noise sitting right next to like the engine and the wing there. Really phenomenal job in terms of overall noise cancellation, and just comparing it directly to my QC35s. Again, not truly a fair comparison there because these are newer, just much better active noise canceling tech in my opinion between those two, and just customization overall. With that, battery life. These things are phenomenal when it comes to battery life, and that's something you want out of a headphone like this where you may predominantly be using it for travel reasons like flying and whatnot. And with that, when you charge it for 30 minutes to an hour, you basically get like a full charge, so the recharge time is great as well. Well, I've been satisfied with these headphones and just my general purchase, whether it's at-home usage or the small commute I do from this home office to our actual office in the city. It's like a short 10 to 15 minute commute that I do. And the cool thing about these headphones is that they have ambient control for the active noise canceling. So when I'm commuting, when I'm on my electric scooter, very San Francisco of me, I can adjust the active noise canceling so I'm not completely blocking out the world around me, because I do want to hear if there's cars or somebody honking behind me for safety reasons, of course, while still being able to wear these headphones. Coming from either the quiet comfort when I'm traveling or really want to kind of be in my own zone, or using the Apple AirPods, this kind of solves the best of both worlds. It gives me that over-the-ear kind of envelopment and immersiveness when it comes to sound, while the convenience and feature set of stuff like the Apple AirPods. It's not super built for the Apple ecosystem in that sense, but it does a really good job. And with that, I want to jump into the app and the features that the XM4 presents. So here I am in the Sony Connect app on my Apple iPhone or iOS here. You have 3 tabs: the status tab, the sound tab, and the system tab. The status tab gives you the current status of your device, whether you're playing any music, whether you have multiple devices connected. This has always been kind of buggy. Right now it's connected to my phone as well as my laptop, but it doesn't showcase that, and we'll talk more about that in a second. You have adaptive sound control, which tries to adjust that ambience thing I was talking about on the fly, depending on what you're doing. If you're walking, it can also use location or geo awareness to say that like if you're at home, it probably knows that you want the noise canceling on, versus like if you're walking in the city and there's a lot of background noise, you probably want that, you know, either turned up a bit or turned down a bit depending on what you're doing. I personally turn this off just because it does a lot of switching depending on what it thinks you're doing. It's not always accurate. I know it needs a little bit more data to build that up, but I just personally prefer to leave the ambient control on, but I leave it at noise canceling for the most part all times, unless again I'm about to commute or get on my electric scooter, then I might turn it up a little bit to anywhere from 1 to 19. So you have a lot of ambient sound that you can allow in. I've always found like, you know, anywhere from 5 to 10 is decent to kind of allow that outside noise in a little bit while still getting some of that noise cancellation. You also have the ability to do things like focus on voice, so that it tends to let voice in more or people talking to you more versus like just general outside ambient noise. And then you also have this new speak to chat feature, which essentially what this does is the inverse in that if you are speaking, so if I have these on and I'm talking, it will then turn off the noise cancellation and kind of dim or not pause the sound so that I can talk to somebody. So like if I'm on a train and somebody comes up and asks me something or what have you, or I'm ordering coffee in the line, I have the headphones on. As soon as I start talking, the idea is that it turns off that noise cancellation so that I can hear the person I'm talking to. I understand the concept behind it. I personally found that it makes me more aware that like when I have these on, I have that feature on, I can't really talk or hum or say anything because it might accidentally trigger it. So I just turn it off entirely. The other thing when it comes to noise cancellation is you do have this raise to kind of stop feature. So for example, if I have these on like I do now and somebody's talking to me, I can take my right hand and put it over the right cup here and it goes into a transparency mode. So now I can hear the world around me, take it off, back to that noise canceling. Again, put it over the cup there and I hear the world around me. And that's just in part due to the sensor. So that's a quick way, if somebody's talking to you, you can be like, oh, sorry, what'd you say? And you know, let that sound in. It's very quick, I will say, again, really quick to do so. And it's nice when I'm in the office, I have, you know, my business partner sitting around in a space. It's an easy way for me to just kind of quickly go, you know, what was that or what have you, and quickly hear what's going on. And the transparency mode is a decent transparency mode. It's not one of those weird kind of like faux transparency modes where it sounds like you can clearly tell like there's latency between you and what people are saying. It just really allows that sound in. It's nice and easy to kind of hear what's going on around you. So there's a couple features like that that are, you know, a bit gimmicky. You may or may not use them, but they're there and you can tweak them for the most part, whether or not you want to use them. The features that I do like that I will say I actually use are also kind of baked into the app here that I get to talk about here. But in the system settings here, you have the ability to configure things like the ability whether or not you want to have the headphones automatically power off. I think this is a great feature that attributes to that already great battery life. If you forget to turn these off when you take them off and like leave them at your desk, will automatically power off after a certain amount of time. Pausing when you take the headphones off. This is like a feature I feel like everything should just have, because that's, I feel like, just common. If I'm listening to something and I take them off, it's probably because I want to hear somebody or what have you, so I should pause the media. The AirPods spoiled me with this, and again, it's great to see that the Sony XM4s offer this. And yeah, those are the two big features I will say that I really use in terms of like what's actually offered in here. And again, the multi-device support. So what this does, again, as I mentioned earlier, is this allows you to connect to like a phone, for example, and a laptop. And the way I have this set up is like, I'm listening to music on my laptop for the most part, but if I get a call on my phone or a text or some sort of notification, it will then pause the sound that's going on my laptop and then allow me to quickly take the call on my phone. This works pretty well. I will say initially out of the box, this wasn't the greatest pairing functionality or didn't work as it should have. After a software update, this started to work much, much better. I'll say it works 95% of the time, though there is that odd 5% where sometimes, even though if it's paired to both devices, I can't hear audio on one device and I have to like turn them on and turn them off to repair them both automatically. But again, it's much less now post a software update that recently came out. But yeah, it's a nice feature to have, right? That automated switching between multiple devices. It just makes sense that if I'm on my headphones and I'm listening to something on the computer, somebody calls my phone, I don't have to worry about like switching between devices or like pulling my AirPods out or like taking my headphones up to pick up the call. I can do it all via this headset right here. In that sound setting as well, like I mentioned, you have that equalizer that I talked about earlier, where you can go ahead and customize the sound profile of the headphones and the sound that you kind of want to get out of them, whether you want them to be more bassier, turn down the bass, whatever your personal style or preference when it comes to your genre of music, you can adjust that all in the equalizer. And then they have some other optimization for your personal head profile, things like I talked about, the clamping force, the optimization, and your ear shape. It can even analyze your ear shape to really get you the best sound for like 360 reality audio, if that's something that you're into. Outside of that, I did mention the smart component to these headphones. That's the last feature I want to talk about. You do have the ability to essentially talk to your smart assistants via your phone. So mine is hooked up to my Alexa on my phone. So if I have them on here, I can say with a custom button here, turn off Office. And lo and behold, maybe, hopefully, turn off Office. There you go, second time's the charm. And there you have the assistant. So it's nice if you don't have like assistants built in throughout your house. If you're just walking around your house with your headphones on, it's a quick way to, quickly trigger those things like smart automations. Or if you're out and about and you want to ask about the weather or the time, you can do all of that via your headphone without having to pull your phone out. So it's a nice touch, but again, it's there. I don't use it a lot, but it's nice to have. From a pro's perspective, these are easily one of the best in class when it comes to active noise cancellation. I think, again, these do a superb job at taking out a lot of that ambient and background noise and really enveloping you and immersing you in the world of whatever it is you're listening to and cutting out the actual world around you, while giving you a tweakable and customizable experience with these headphones. You can tweak the ambient noise profile, you can tweak the equalizer and the sound kind of that you're getting out of these headphones. And again, it's great to have that level of customization on your headphones, whether or not you want to do a deep dive or just listen to them out of the box. Outside of that, they're comfortable. That's something that's super important when it comes to headphones like these that you might want to be wearing for long trips or commutes. Very, very comfortable, easy on the ears, not a huge or heavy clamping force. And the battery life is phenomenal. Again, I can't echo this enough. The battery life on these is really, really great. The recharge time is really great. It's going to easily get you throughout the day, if not multiple days, depending on usage. When it comes to cons, a little bit bugginess on the software now and again. Like I said in the showcase there, sometimes it detects stuff, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it works with the multiple device pairing, sometimes it doesn't. Not to mention the kind of gimmicky features. Some of them are great, some of them are useful, some of them are just, they're there and you can choose to use them or not. The other thing I will say when it comes to the overall controls of these headphones in terms of cons, the touch controls are nice. It would be nice to have more like physical controls when it comes to certain things, just because I think sometimes like the swiping can, depending on the angle you do it, can go right. And if I want to turn the volume up, I have to constantly kind of do that motion, swiping up and up and up, where I feel like something like a knob or something like the Surface headphones did is just more tactile and easier. But again, I don't hate it. It's just something that's there. Though the physical button, something I will note, even though that the power button is smaller than the custom button, I wish they would have put like a nib or a little dot on the power button to really make it stand out more, or change the shape of it even more so than just making it smaller, because I find myself constantly sometimes trying to turn on the headphone and I'm hitting the custom button versus the power button. So that's just a small gripe. Lastly, when it comes to cons, for some of you out there who want to consider this, if you're exercising or doing a lot of physical activity, these aren't resistant or anything of that nature, so I would stray away from doing like heavy workouts on these, just because they're not like water resistant or sweat proof, in that they can easily get damaged or you can break the padding. So in conclusion, at around $350 odd, depending on when you get these, I will say these are constantly on sale a lot, so you can probably get it under or around that $300 mark nowadays. These Sony XM4s are some of the best in class active noise canceling headphones that you can get out there. And with the addition of things like, of course, Apple's newest AirPods Max at that $500+ price point, I think these are a really great competitor in compromise to something that is, that expensive and at that price point. You can spend a little less and still have some left over for a really comparable set of headphones with, comparable feature sets. It gives you a comfortable and customizable experience with decent sound and audio quality, catering to the majority versus that of the audiophile, right? Again, it leans a bit heavier on that bassy side, but you have the ability to kind of customize those options in the app. And while initially in the price range of $300+, like I said, you can often see it on sale to get it a little bit cheaper depending on the time and point that you buy it at. Sans a couple gimmicky features, the XM4s offers something for everyone. If you're coming off of the XM3s, this is not a must upgrade. However, if you're simply looking for your next pair of active noise canceling headphones, whether it's for commuting, daily listening, or what have you, then these are for you. Again, I tested these in a variety of situations, mainly for music listening. Use it a little bit for gaming and movie consumption. The latency is okay, it's decent. I can edit off of these, I can play a game off of these, but again, it's not meant for that, right? You're not getting that pinpoint accuracy. And again, you have to factor in that these are wireless. So if you're looking for the best in those areas, when it comes to like gaming, you probably want to look elsewhere, but they can do it if you needed to do it. Again, they're versatile in that sense. They aren't the best sounding headphones at their price point, but they take what they did already really well and make it even better coming off of those XM3s. And I think they are the best overall package for an active noise canceling headphones at their price point. Solid sound, comfort, and feature packed, the XM4s will tune out the world around you and let you enjoy the sound at hand, or well, your ears anyway. I'm Adrian for Digital Dojos. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth review of the Sony XM4s. Be sure to subscribe for more content and like this video if you enjoyed. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, catch you up on the next one.